roughly 18 to 24-hour stretch here as we await the FOMC meeting, or the Fed's decision on whether or not the lower rates stay the same or raise rates. It's been our conviction in this community, my personal conviction, that we would have rate cuts mid-September, and I believe that's what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to get the first of several rate cuts. The big question is it going to be 25, 50, 75 basis points or more? It's highly unlikely they're going to go above 50. The consensus seems to think somewhere between 25 and 50 basis points, but it's going to be incredibly important what we decide to do tomorrow. We're seeing that premature movement in mining stocks, commodities. Gold was down initially most of the day, and now it's rallied to go up by $10. Silver's down 1/3 of 1%. Some commodities were down as much as 5%. Some more. So we're definitely having some kind of shake there. Cryptocurrencies had a little bit of green today. XRP started to wake up a little bit today. In regards to a pushback over $3, it's starting to put it, or at least see in its sights, that $3.06 major pivot point that we'll be dealing with here in the imminent short term. And once we get on top of there, if that's the route we decide to go, which would be the most profitable route, at least in the short term, is to get on top of 306 and then open the door up to $3.30. Once we get on top of $3.30, that's where we're going to see that more parabolic spike start to factor in, because then it opens up the door to just about $3.70. And getting up there, we're going to start to contend with all-time highs regardless of exchange on. So we want to get over like 385 to knock out every single resistance on any chart that you can pull up, in USD, or USDT, but at least in the United States dollar. Like I said, it's my conviction that we're going to have a rate cut tomorrow. And I know a lot of people are in a weird headspace. There's a lot of, I've seen a lot of it lately. What's the point? Blah, blah, blah. We have no control. It doesn't matter what we do. We're never going to get ahead. And honestly, I can only put it one way. I was on Facebook for years. Went away, focused on my finance, focused on understanding monetary policy and understanding crypto and learning the charts and doing all this stuff. And now you want to talk about fast forward 5 years later, these same people that were complaining about all of that stuff, the politics and not being able to do anything, being so far behind, campaigning, those same people are still complaining to each other, depending on what side of their aisle, on the right or left, is who they take sides with. But they're still complaining about this same nonsensical nonsense. But at the same time, missing a golden opportunity of understanding finance and enthralling yourself. So my point is here, instead of worrying about all that mumbo jumbo bullshit, if you just focus with me each and every day, and you focus on finance, you focus on real money, you focus on monetary policy, but you also focus on this digital setup that's coming in with the digital IDs and the smart cities and all this stuff, to see how this particular technology ties it all together. And you're not going to have to worry about that mumbo jumbo, shut the fuck up bullshit all day long. That'll drive you frickin' through a wall, separate families like you've never seen. But if you end up getting ahead in the financial part of it, while everybody's wondering and saying, oh my God, the US dollar is down to where? Oh my God, we're printing how much more money? Which they won't say that because they think it's a gravy train. But when they're not able to figure out what the hell is going on, why the prices are so much more expensive in the store, why there's so many people that technically aren't living at a living wage, and they can't see between you and I, they can't see that paying somebody to flip a hamburger $20 an hour is a good thing. As there were a labor guy who's doing something essential is making 17. Well, the essential guy's going to quit and go flip the damn hamburger. And then the guy who's more qualified, they're going to have him come flip the hamburger because he's got more, utility in a sense, because he's got a little bit of integrity, so they don't have to worry so much. But anyhow, it's a domino effect. So what we need to do is we need to stay ahead of what's coming. We need to stay ahead of what's coming. And the devaluation of the dollar, it's incredible. It's incredible. Just for 1 second, just listen to this for 1 second. Just hear me out. And it's incredible when you, and then we're going to go through the charts. We're going to do all this stuff, but it's incredible when you understand what it means to get ahead. And we have a very big opportunity right now. Even if you've done none of this stuff, you still have a great opportunity.
There are two main ways to answer this question. One that considers the nominal value of the money, and another that considers its purchasing power. The nominal value: if you had 50,000 INA non-minus interest minus bearing account
So if you just kept that 50 grand, it would have appreciated some. So let's see.
That's an excellent question that gets to the heart of compound interest. While it's impossible to give an exact number without knowing the specific interest rates of the bank you were using each year, we can provide a good estimate based on historical data. In 1950, a typical savings account interest
Is the point. That's a big difference. Even from when I was born, like in 1983, it's incredible that this is showing you the devaluation of the dollar.
based on the consumer price index.
Big difference. That's a big difference. I mean, that's big. So you're trying to stay ahead. So
To calculate the current value of $50,000 in gold purchased in 1983, we need to know the price
was how much 50,000 would be worth today. You know how much it would cost in purchasing power. At least if you had gold and you made an investment, it would have, let's just put it this way, gold would outpace the rate of inflation by a significant amount. So 165,000 is what 50,000 is worth. Now it's worth 435. So you're doing good. You're still cooking. But you've got to stay ahead of it. It's the same thing that's happening now. And yes, I know a lot of people won't watch when I talk about this stuff, but it's true. It's your rate of return. So as the dollar keeps getting devalued, now under 97, and it's just going to get worse. It got rejected at 99 on the channel perfectly on the resistance. Like, that is a brutal rejection. That's brutal. And as the farther this comes down, the less our money's worth. So, you know, how are you going to stay ahead of it? Are you staying ahead of it through mutual funds? Are you staying ahead of it through because you're trying to trade through a speculative crypto? Do you have a store of value? Do you trade? You know, there's so many different things that are going to eat us alive. And we're running out of this chapter. This is the prosperous chapter. This is the chapter. Let's put it this way. This part of a game, this is the part of the chapter where everybody can get ahead. Just based on what you simply know and fundamental approach. If you understand this technology, if you understand how to devalue and de-risk against the U.S. currency, the U.S. dollar, your native currency, and right now de-risking is gold, silver, emerging markets, and mining stocks in a sense. Those are the ways if you're betting against the U.S. dollar and thinking we're going to continue to inflate, continue to cut rates, continue to go into quantitative easing, that's what your bet should be going. Yes, risk assets is great. It won't always be, but there's a time, and we're coming into a big time right now. There's a lot of ends that meet, and in the macro, this particular sector is looking really spicy. You know, it's just, there comes a time and a place for everything. So it's not about time and market, it's about timing the market. And then when it becomes the time, It's not about what did you pay, it's about how much do you hold. Think about that for a second. When the time is right and we're about to actually break out, it's not about how much you bought it for. It's about how much you hold. So for XRP, for example, if it goes up to $6, the only thing that matters is that you have 10,000 tokens. If you wanted 10,000 tokens. So yeah, it might have cost you 30,000, but just like the guy who has 10,000 tokens from 35 cents, don't you both still make the same $30,000? That's why it's more important about how much you have. Because if somebody has a lot of money and they want to buy in and they see it right before and they want that same 1x that you get at the point of now, at this point of time, that's how they would do it. So it's an interesting thing depending on what your funds look like. If you are watching right now, please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube does recommend this live. I would greatly appreciate it. The analytics have been tricky, but the more people that hit the like, as we seen yesterday, it allowed us to grow. We started with like 45 people. We ended with like 135 people. Today we have 96 already. Wow. Definitely a lot quicker start. That's incredible. Thank you all so much. So good evening. 5:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, September 18th, 2025. Or September 16th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Holy shit. It's only 4 days until my sister's 38th birthday. Only 2 days until my cousin's, what's he going to be, that old fuck? 34 now. So, Johnny, if you're listening in the Abyss, happy pre-birthday, and my sister as well. But yeah, what a day. What a day to be alive today. What an opportunity that presents itself once again. And what a scenario we're in within a community that we have where we can actually get ahead here. I know it's a crazy world we live in, but this is one that I'd like to be a part of right here in this little space. Dan, Marginal, and Poppy Lou, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's under 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Mr. Popcorn Bud, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's under for your second month with the Dusty Dollars Crypto News. Said, get to listen to Tom while cooking green chili stew. Couldn't ask for a better Tuesday evening. Amen to that, my brother. Sounds like you're gonna be cooking and feeling good. You're gonna be fed very well soon. UK Phil, Moza here, and Mark Caston. Thank you all three of you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. G-Stot and Just Send It. Thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Kawabunga, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. A really good evening. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in. I'm glad you got a notification. I shared one right as I was about to start too. So however you got it, I'm so glad you did. The Gatman, welcome in, and thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. What an excellent show of support there. William, welcome in. IQ says, good early evening, everyone. Just stopped by to say hello and then gotta go. Tom, hope you're doing well, brother. I'm doing pretty good, my friend. It's been busy, especially with the transition for my son into a full day of school. But a lot of stuff we're getting done. I hope you're doing well as well, William, and you're having a blessed evening. I'm glad you're able to stop in for, if not just for a minute, to say hi. I love it. Frankie Fresh, Crypto Cooter, and Ben B, welcome in, and thanks for being part of Tom's on for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. And Crypto Cooter, thanks for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. Excuse me. Let's see. I think I said hi to Dan Margin on Crypto Plumber 589, but thank you both for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. And Frankie Fresh, thank you, along with Jacoby for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. And also, give my love to Janine as well. Thank you both for being a part of this. Both very important to me. Tanya May, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Thank you so much, love, for being in here, Tanya. It means a lot to me. One of the most influential people that we have in this audience. It's true. Man or woman, it's true. Zoli, welcome in. Let's see. Who didn't I say hi to? Did I say hi to CJ2 Pilot? CJ2 Pilot, welcome in. Thanks for being in Town's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. James Dula, good evening. McMichael, welcome in, and thanks for being in Town's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor, along with the Fine Group. And the Fine Group, thank you so much for being a very trusted mod in here and in the Telegram. It says, hey, everyone, hit that like. On the way in, consider joining Tom's Army and subscribing. If you are not in the Telegram, you are missing out. I agree with that. I haven't said as much in the Telegram. I've been doing a lot of monitoring, as I've told Define in a message. But I think we're able to it cuts out because he's talking. Oh yeah, it was cutting out because I was talking to text guys. I'm glad somebody said that. No, we should be okay right now. No sound. I think it's better now, man. Okay, so I think we're good right now. DML, welcome in, and thanks for being in Town's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. J for Mix, welcome in. DML, welcome in, thanks. I think I said thanks for being in Town's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor, but just in case, thank you so much. Brandad, welcome in, and thanks for being in Town's Army for over 3 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. G Stott, welcome in. Thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for your 2nd month with us. That was Crypto News. I've been wondering what physical gold and silver will actually get up to after we go full digital. Ooh, that's a very big speculation. I don't know. I know gold can already do it digitally, so they're coming up with the being able to buy and sell digitally, which is not what I'm in it for. But unfortunately, that's a reality that's actually coming to pass right now. Cowabunga says check clears it up for me. Much more because I thought it was about it. Timing, not about how much you have in reference. Yep. I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up with what I was saying. And yeah, obviously timing the market is important if you're buying it and you're trying to accumulate in the right proper bear spot of a cycle, and you're trying to, buy into it or hold it going into the next leg, or starting to go from a bear market to a bull market. It's incredibly important for that part of the timing. But as far as depending on your resources, it's all about the resources. So if you have the resources, some people would just say, hey, I know I didn't buy XRP at 35 cents, but I wanted 10,000 tokens there, and I'm going to spend 30 grand right now. Well, the risk factor is if you would have bought it you're still losing the same money. The difference is some of it didn't come out of your pocket. If you bought it at 35 cents and XRP goes and your 30,000 turns into 22, you're like, okay, well, I lost 8,000, but I'm still up 19,000. Catch my drift? If you buy it now at 30,000 with 10,000 tokens and then it goes to 22, now you're literally sitting on an $8,000 loss. It's a big difference. So that's where the importance of timing becomes more important, especially with the quantity. So yeah, there's different perspectives to look at this. The Fine Group, thank you so much for 6 months in Tom's Army now with the XRP Predictor. I really appreciate that. What a guy. Frankie, hi, I'm here with Frankie watching you. Thank you so much for always acknowledging me. Love watching and listening to you and your army. Oh, thank you, Janine. I'm glad that it means that much to you. It's important for me to say it too. And I don't know. I feel a special connection with you and Frankie Fresh and with Janine, and there's a few of you I feel that connection. It's funny because I've never met any of you in real life, but there's that connection. Well, we are meeting in real life through this, but this is different. It's different. I suppose I should get into the charts. It's been almost 20 minutes, but I can't help it. I think we do the best when we ease into it. We talk it out. I talk about my thoughts and feelings. We get through the audience, and now, and only now, we're on the right connective wave. We all know what we're looking at. We all know what the understanding, what we're expecting, what we're trying to build into, what we're looking at tomorrow. And so far, XRP is starting to wake up. It is starting to wake up ahead of rate cuts. We've had a nice clear out in the weekly, which we've talked about. It's setting us up with the potential here for a fantastic push out here. It really is. It really, really is. The only question is do we have to come to 278? If we don't, so be it. I'd rather not. But we know the 278 target, even though it is a back test, and a lot of times we will back test. You know, it's not that big of a difference. It's like 385. Oh, see how that makes it nice. That puts you right up to the exact. Oh, let's get rid of this. Range of all-time highs. That's interesting. And that's simply just saying it's going to break out, and that was the actual support right there. And it doesn't come down farther, and that's where it pushes out. But we can see in the daily how it pushed down, clearing out some space. But with rate cuts, I mean, I could see a very quick reversal that could play out here. 4 hourly, and now it's very quickly got into overbought, which kind of sucks. But it's back on top of the golden cross. The 20s crossed the 200. Hell, for that matter, the 50 and the 100s crossed the 200. Now, this is, I mean, technically, if you want to hear how this works, with the exponential moving averages, you got the 20-day, 50-day, 100-day, and 200-day moving averages. And if you're new, you're going to like this. If you're not new, embrace it and start to listen and, you know, understand every single time to where you can pass on the knowledge to somebody else who's trying to figure it out. So the 20-day is this red line. The 50-day is this orangish brown line. And this light blue line is the 100-day. So when the 20 crosses the 200, and now, just a heads up, a lot of people, when they use the EMAs, they use the 50-day, the 100-day, and 200-day. So basically all this is all the analytics from every single person who's traded within a 50-day period. And it shows you the average, which is considered the moving average of the 50-day, where all those different buys meet up. And then you have it all meet in the same place. So then you get the moving average from the 50 days out. Then you have the same information, but you expand it to 100 days. And then you get the 100-day trend line because of all the average buys up and down, left and right, poor or positive. It's all put into the same data. Then you go up to the 200-day. So once you get there, now you're looking for the traditional, they look for the 50-day moving average to cross the 200. And that would signify a bullish cross once you have the 50 cross the 100. But it would consider a, I mean, it's a very important, but not until you get to the 100 cross and the 200 in this case, because that gives you overall validation. Now, what I like to do is I like to get all the stragglers at 20 days. I like to pull up the 20-day moving average. And I like to see exactly what's happening. So, you know, now you have the 20 days, the 50-day, the 100-day, and the 200-day. So you get an early indicator from the 20 cross and the 50-day moving average. And once that happens, it's considered a bullish cross. And then if the 20 crosses the 200, it's considered a golden cross. So bullish cross is when you start to go, oh, wait a minute. What's going on here, like right here? This is where everybody's like, from a technical standpoint, they're going, wait a minute. XRP might be waking up. We got the 20 cross and the 50, or that's an important event here. Holy smokes, we got to pay attention. And then you're like, well, now it's crossed the 100-day. This is something. Then it usually consolidates back down. As you can see here with this wick, it came back down. Here, let me pull this. See how this wick came back down here because it retested the cross? Then it comes up over the 200. Now you're like, oh, boy. Now we got a golden cross. And if we can hold this back test, we're going to make some noise. And we held it. We pushed up. Now all of a sudden, the 50-day cross, and you're like, holy shit. Because now the 20 cross and the 200 is a golden cross. The 50 cross and the 200 is a major signal. This is a signal that something bigger is happening. It's just bigger. Once the 100-day crosses the 200, you're like, oh my God, this is confirmation. Like, this is confirmation. And then when you back test it after a overzealous breakdown, you back test the 200-day perfectly twice, and now you're pushing up. This could be the perfect environment. And you see how the moving averages are converging now. This could be a short-term flip of the mindset here. And it's not just XRP, but in this very case of the chart we're looking at, it's showing you this in the 4-hourly. And now even it's come back on top of it. So now all these things are converging. The daily time frame from that perspective, say the same thing. It's got a golden cross that hasn't played out at all yet. And now you had a bearish crossing of the 20 crossing the 50 for a split second as a fake out. Whoops. And being on the top side of this pattern, we don't worry unless it breaks down. But we always have the identity knowing that it can come down here if it breaks down and bust this pattern. But right now, we're worried about up here. Maybe the minimum down here, we have to come back. But as of right now, we're not too worried about that. Unless it shows us something different, unless they don't cut rates. If for some reason Jerome Powell comes on tomorrow and says we're raising rates, I'll come on here and say we are screwed in risk assets. And in that matter, gold and silver will probably go down tomorrow. If they raised rates, it would be, there's less than a 1% chance he's going to raise rates. But that would be something that would be like, uh-oh. But, I mean, as far as what it did going into this, yes, would I have rather it continued dumping today? Yes, I would have. But in the environment we're in, we've got plenty of space. I mean, plenty of space. From a weekly standpoint, it can start cooking here in a big way. We just need to make sure that we get bullish crossover on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence with flip red. So that's never good. But there's no concrete evidence that this is going to go anywhere but a short fake out in the weekly, and then it'll just move back up. So hopefully that clears it up a little bit. We've got plenty of room in the monthly as well. We cross bullish in the stochastic and in the moving average convergence divergence. We haven't went red. We're just kind of stuck for a little bit, that's all. But we've definitely got room to grow. So there's a lot of things that are starting to transpire. Yes, there's going to be a lot of up and down, left and right. And we'll see if this is the start to the end here for this massive leg up that would get us to 549 all the way up to its technical move in grandstanding from before we even broke out from the 7-year consolidation going back to January of 2018 to the overall breakout in November of 2024. That technical target is $6.39, and I can't change that because we drew that out before this ever happened. We've just had this drawn out for many, many years. And if you're part of the community since March 24th of 2021, fortunately for you, you've got to see this play out in real time. So now when you watch it now, you have no questions. Somebody new, you have no reason to trust me. Hell, I'm not a financial advisor. And this is for entertainment purposes only. So, you know, there is that. There is that. But no, we've had charts. We've been watching for a very long time. I just need to let this one load. I just wanted to go through here and make sure. But this is what we've had drawn out for a very long time. That's where I always reference 549 and it's 638. I just say 639 to go over the top. But this is where we broke out. We actually had this set up with the consolidation in the middle for the cup and handle. And this is how we measured it to get to these targets. And I said in 23 that I looked like an idiot. I looked crazy. And now look what happens. We don't know, PB. We don't know after $6. We don't know if it goes up and it's 638 because it's going to be in massive discovery. Remember that. So we don't know if it comes up to 549 and then it comes back down because there is an indicator that it could stop there. If you look at it slightly different. And that could incite like a move back to like 489, maybe even farther down, who knows, in 350. But if it goes to the full potential, what we're looking for in the most bullish scenario would be we go up to 638 and we back test 549. And every step of the way up to 638, we're cleaning house. We're cleaning house. Lots of analysts are saying 20 to 25. Well, I'm not a lot of analysts. 20 and 25 is not even on the board yet. So we can put out fake numbers. Analysts, they're not really an analyst if they're saying 20 or 25 at this stage. There's no setup here that would indicate that we're going to 20 to 25 yet. The setup here tells you we're going to 549 or 638. Anything else is to get clicks. Maybe I should start doing that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't trust the analysts that say that because they're skipping over where it's actually going. But I'm not saying it won't get there one day. I'm just saying let's get the evidence that'll push us there before we get there. How about that? You know, and I have a pretty nice track record of not being 100% on the money, but being 100% within the cycle. So you draw that out for what it is. And this is our third different cycle we're in, and we've been on the money every single time. So, you know, I'm not saying that past results dictate future success, but what I am saying is if we could understand the cycle in 21 and the bull market, understand the bear market of 23, understand back into the bullish push in November of 20, I mean, understanding these whole setups, it leads you to understand that maybe we do know something more. Understanding that you've seen exactly what we did in gold and silver and where it's at now from 22, and what we've done with mining stocks and emerging markets, I think it lends a little bit of credibility to where we can do what we need. Even the fib isn't putting it up to 20 or 25 unless they're overextending it to like the 3 points. Like that's the overextended fib. I don't even care for the fib personally. I think the fib's a cheap way to act like you know technical analysis without actually knowing it. And 95% of the analysts that I see use the Fibonacci retracement tool, they don't actually know how to draw out a chart. They just put this fancy thing in the middle of the price action, and they say, well, here's the 50% retracement, here's the 61.8% retracement, here's the, and it goes on and on. Here's the 1.5 extension. Like, you know, unless you can give me a little bit more finer details of why those numbers mean anything, you know. But I'm not saying that we can't go higher, folks. That's the thing. Like, I think at some point XRP is going to enjoy its run between that one time, even if only once. It's going to do that double up from 10 to 20. But it's got to do all of this first. We have to do all of this. The best scenario would be it goes up to 638 and we start using 549 as a back test because we go up to 382. Then we drop back down to 350. Then we go up to 415. Back test 385. Go up to 489. Back test $4. Go up to 549. Back test 489. Go up to 638. Back test 549. Then because then we're leaving no gaps. The odds of that happening are probably slim. And the odds of not having a catastrophic 50 to 70% drop after we get up to 638 is probably less than 15%, if you want me to be honest. The same thing you've seen at 383 when it dropped to $1.62, do the same math. Do the same math. We'll do this. Actually, I'll do it for us. So when we came up here, we were at about 365, 370-ish. We'll just do it from like 362. And then we came down to $1.62-ish. Close enough. So we dropped 54% is the bottom line before we started to reverse back up. So now you go from here and go, well, where does 54% bring us? If we come all the way up to 638, 638, where does it bring us? And I even went a little higher. So 54%. And like, would you be afraid? Would you think the market's over? But if it just does what we did in this same exact structure, a 54% drop can bring you all the way down to $2.93. That's not right, is it? Oh yeah, because we're over 50%, duh. Yeah, that absolutely could bring us under $3. So then when you start looking at it from that perspective, yeah, it's a 54% drop, but unless you bought it from $6.39, you know, that's why it's like, do you take profit at that point? If you've wrote it from 34 cents and it's up at $6, if you haven't taken any profit, I'm just telling you that's not a winning formula. I don't really care what anybody says. I hear so many stations say, if you sell XRP, you don't know how to trade. If you don't take profit along the way, you're never going to win. How do you expect to become this wealthy? And it's the other thing. People talk all this and say, oh, you need to have all this XRP at the end. But they're telling you at the same breath, you need to have all this XRP, but it's going to $1,000 a token. Well, if that's the case, I only need 100 XRP, right? That's 100,000. Or what if I only need 1,000 XRP? If it's going to $1,000, that's $1 million on 1,000 XRP. So what are we really talking about? If it's going up there and people are convinced themselves, I can't take profit till we hit $500 or $1,000 or $20,000. Well, then you're going to be waiting a long time, and you're going to pass up a lot of opportunity to increase your investment portfolio. at the expense of I don't know what. But there's a big opportunity here if you're just patient. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about patience. Patient to get in, patient to ride it out. And then also having patience with yourself to understand, like, if you want X amount of tokens, but you know you want to ride them for the ride, you buy X amount of tokens more so that you don't have to deal with getting rid of your holdings at all. You get rid of that other part of the holdings that has no attachment. Like what we did as a community, for anybody who followed suit, we had bought early 23 for 34 cents. Well, we had bought for 28 and a half. We sold for 42 to build capital. And then we bought 34 cents when it hit the uptrend, when they announced quantitative easing and rate cuts coming. And we got a golden gift in July of 2024, and we dropped down to 38 cents, and we cleaned up. We bought, well, I know a lot of people followed suit, but $5,000 through the pairing, the XRP Bitcoin pairing, we rode that. And then when it was appropriate, a lot of it over $3 and a lot of it, some at $3.50 and higher, you know, we cleaned house with that, and we were able to sell that, keep our big investment that we started at 34 cents, but just get rid of the other portion of it. And that's what I've tried to teach in this community. Like, you don't have to get rid of what you want. You just have to make sure you have more than what you need. So if your goal was, I need 10,000 XRP, well, you might have had to try to get at least 15 or 12 or 20, whatever, you know, if you want to get rid of some of it. It's my own, that's what I do. And then I can use those funds and put it somewhere else. So, and at the end of the day, who knows what's right and what's wrong, but I do know you'll never go broke taking profit. But you can never pay off if you never take profit. So, like, it's a double-edged sword. We want to ride it to the highest appreciation, but at the end of the day, it is still a risk asset. And understanding risk assets, you know they have cycles. Right now, we're in a bullish phase. We've waited 3 years for the bullish phase. And I know it's been brutal because I've been here every single day since March 24th of 2021. It was glorious in 21 for that 8 days with XRP when it actually went up. That's all it was about 8 days. We had an 8-day bull market for XRP. And then over the series of a year and a half, it came back down to 28 and a half cents. I don't think we get that anymore. That's the difference here. This is a different cycle for XRP. I don't think we're going to see it under $1 ever again. I mean, if it does break this cycle, and let's just say for whatever reason we break down and we don't hold $1.77, well, then we reserve the right to change it and be like, well, we're fucked. We're going back down into a crypto winter. But in the current environment, with rate cuts, with quantitative easing, with money printing out the yin-yang, with the devaluing of the dollar, even if it's shit, by just the pure understanding that the US dollar is trash, the asset is going to go up in value. So it might not be worth shit when you cash it out into the dollar, but if you're using it as a medium exchange, you know, you need less and less of the tokens to do what you need to do. But it also becomes worth less and less when it comes to actual nominal values. That's why gold versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin has not made a new high from 2021, ironically. Isn't that crazy to think? Bitcoin has not made a new high versus gold, which means your gold now is worth more versus Bitcoin than your gold versus Bitcoin in 21. That's pretty staggering, knowing that Bitcoin's over 116,000. Almost 117. Think about that. That's how you know the real devaluing. 117. How about this? This is the fun part. And yes, it's going to go blink for a second. Hold on.
Based on inflation data, 117,000 IM
right? Right now, that's worth $136,980.20 in today's inflation. We're only talking 4 years. Since I started doing this stream, $117,000 of purchasing power, you now need almost $137,000 of purchasing power. It's insane. It's insane how fast it's going up. So, I mean, and with our rate of interest, so the real inflation rate, we've gone up 17.06% in inflation since 2021. That is your real rate of inflation. Congratulations. Are we really at 4.5% in the federal funds rate? No. Interest is actually 17.06% since 21. Does that sound like a sound environment, or does that sound hyperinflation-esque? So we got to find a way to defend ourselves in all of this. That's the bottom line. And 99 out of 100 people I come across couldn't give a rat's ass. 75 out of 100 people that walk in here that are new are going to leave immediately listening to this portion. You know, that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. So, I mean, that's data that I give you. That's in a way that I can explain it, that the only reason I even understand it like that is because of people like Peter Schiff and Mike Maloney. And, there's so many others. But just Robert Kiyosaki, when it comes to that part of it, you know, that can actually teach you something. And, you know, there's a dime a dozen. And who do the people look up to? Grant Cardone. A sleaze bag of a sleaze bag. Like, this is what we do. These are who we look up to. We don't want to know how it's done. We want the easiest route possible. Let me go get some real estate and borrow against it. The dumbest advice ever given to a poor person. It is. It's like throwing monkeys in the cage. But anyhow, I digress. But that's where we're at right now. Crypto analyst debunks XRP price to $10,000 claim. I don't give a rat's ass. These three fundamental factors are poised to trigger billions flowing into Ripple's XRP. Analyst sounds major XRP warning. Last chance to get in as accumulation balloons. Last chance. Where were they at 30 cents, 50 cents? That was the last chance. If they would have said this 1 year ago, I would have agreed. But right now, the last chance. You mean Johnny come lately? This isn't the last chance. This is like getting out of the train and you've chased after it for 95% of the ride but paid full price to get on admission. You know, that's where we're at right now. You're not to get in as accumulation balloons. Huh. I mean, people are accumulating, but Jesus Lord. Vivo Power says its latest buy will effectively be at 65% discount via mining swaps. What the hell does this mean? XRP Treasury firm Vivo Power says its latest buy will effectively be at 65% discount via mining swaps. Vivo Power, VVPR, said Tuesday its mining arm, Carrot Digital, will expand operations and swap mined tokens into XRP. A move it claims will give the company exposure at an effective 65% discount. So let me explain to you what they're trying to say. They're buying it from Ripple off the exchange, and they're putting it under the guise of some fancy mining. We all know that these institutions get a discounted rate. We know that for a fact because it came out in the official documents during the lawsuit back in 2023, where they redacted it so we couldn't see the differential in price, which I went through all 85 pages or whatever with everybody live through a series of lives, some 2 to 3 hours long. And we understand now without a second thought that institutions buy at a different price than on the exchange. There is no question at all. Zero. None. I missed a couple donations. CJ2 Pilot, thank you for the $4.99 donation. And also being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. It says, Tom, I can't stay, so want to pitch in. You all have a great life. Thank you so much. I know you can't see it now, but maybe you'll see it after. Thank you for your generosity. And Joseph Euler, thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 6+ months with the XP Predictor along with Crazy Poll. And Joseph, thank you so much for also sending a $20 donation during this live. Said you are amazing. I appreciate that, Mr. Euler. Thank you so much. Big CJ, welcome in. PB, good evening. Biotech, welcome in. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Corey Kills, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And thank you for the Fibonacci levels around $8. Greatly appreciate that. And 1970 Legend, welcome in. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad badge. A very trusted mod in here in the lives. And also, we know he's our scumbag from down south, the Buckeye fan. Now, I kid, the defending national champions. But we have fun. But he's cool. He's cool. Our fellow Buckeye in the house. Hey, if you can't beat him, join him. So that's what we did. We started cheating. And look what happened. Long and behold, we won a national title 2 years ago. But then we got out-cheated by the cheaters, and they won it last year against these cocksuckers. Anyhow, back to business. The company did not specify how much XRP is expected, or expects to acquire, or which mine tokens will be exchanged. Carrot Digital currently mines Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin according to its website. XRP is trading over $3, up 1.7% in the past 24 hours. So they're going to mine a whole bunch of tokens, supposedly, get a whole bunch of XRP for a 65% discount is what they're claiming. Let's see. I like this. This is something I like to read. Let's see. My stuff is not even coming across, so I have to reset this on this screen. I was going to say there's no way that nobody was sending a message, especially with that last part. Let's see. Great, Paul. Welcome in. Shane, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Michael, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. John Page, good evening. Yes, plus tax. Hate the tax. Lots of tax. Mayweather, good evening. How many cents under the price would you stop loss XRP in case there's a dump? And how many minutes before the announcement would you place it? Honestly, if you're in a spot position, I'm not looking at any kind of stop loss here. Because I know we still have an alt season to go. If you're in a leverage position, I wouldn't be tempting fate, especially with rate cuts coming. Now, if you're asking me where's the bailout safe play, if it comes under $2.77, you have to worry. If it comes below $2.70, there's a very real chance we could drop all the way down to $1.77 to $1.80 area. Obviously, and maybe not obviously to some, there's a fair value gap that can catch us at $2.50, extending down to around $2.36 with the technical move. And then you end up falling down to those targets. And it can get dicey, because once you get down to $1.77, you very well could have an overextension and knock on the door to that gap that I still know is there at $1.50. Even though the top end of it was around $1.62, I'm not about the top end. I want to see it nail that gap in the middle to where I feel more comfortable. So it's a good question. Certainly a good question. Mark Caston, thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So Badge. And thank you for the $10 donation. I'll be damned. 3 donations this live. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mark. And everybody in here for your time. So let's finish this. Great, Paul. Welcome in, because it's already been 47 minutes. Has it really, Julie? I talk that much, and I'm already 47. I think I go... I think I go... I think I black out when I'm talking. I just talk. I guess I should read this. U.S. and U.K. to deepen crypto collaboration, according to the Financial Times. Well, the Financial Times is just that. The U.S. and the U.K. plan to work closer together on cryptocurrency oversight, according to reporting from the Financial Times. U.K. Chancellor Rachel Reeves and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent discussed the collaboration during a meeting on Tuesday. Representatives from the Bank of America, Barclays, Circle, Citi, Coinbase, and Ripple also attended. Financial Times, we'll just say FT reported Circle and Coinbase did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Cassie Craddock, Managing Director of UK and Europe at Ripple, said the planned cooperation has the potential to set a template for international cooperation in our industry in a statement sent to the bloc. With its dynamic economy, deep capital markets, and extensive talent pool, the UK has long been one of the world's leading global financial centers and now is poised to become a leading digital asset and innovation hub. Craddock said increased international collaboration between the UK and US will further serve to unlock the full economic potential of blockchain technology in both countries. Yada, yada, yada. Last week, industry groups pressed the British government to include stablecoins and tokenization in the US-UK tech bridge, a bilateral initiative designed to strengthen collaboration on advanced technologies, including areas such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, space, quantum, and biotechnology alongside digital finance. I mean, I think these are all the areas we always talk about that are going to be expanded. I don't think this is any news. Is this news to anybody? The groups warned that excluding digital assets from the US-UK tech bridge risks leaving Britain behind while other regions move forward in shaping the future of finance. Tell that to the United States how hard they make it for us to get so many different tokens and use exchanges on a finite level. Say the US is conning us as well. I think this is all one big con at the end of the day. We're just in it early. I wish I had the Michael Saylor. Oh, that's what I want to do. This is all bullshit. I don't even care about it. But Michael Saylor, if you look at his buys, you tell me this isn't the prototypical look if we were building a Ponzi scheme. You tell me and watch this guy's buys, and it always left me questioning it. He put it out yesterday or the day before. Hope it's still up here. Did I even click on the right one? Hopefully. So many damn people. Where's this at? Oh, right here. Look at this. So, let me ask you a question. Between me and you, I'm still here. Why does Michael Saylor, you look in 2021, you look at it in August of 2020, you see those big buys. Like Big Bear. Big, gigantic, ginormous buys. I'm going to go into my gallery so that I can start drawing on here. So why do we have all... hold on, let me get my pen out. No, I don't want to... I want to draw. Draw. Okay. Need a thinner one. We'll make this finer. Oh, that's good. So, how come he made all these buys here? Good. If he's making all that there, why were they so small down here? It comes up, finally comes up here, and you start seeing bigger buys. Look how big the buys are all here. So he chose to put all this money in when it's already over 80,000, but when it was at the cheapest in the consolidation, he chose to spend the least amount of money. Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't make any damn sense to me. Like, yes, he came out with a bang, but then when it was at the longest and cheapest consolidation, he said, the hell with it. It comes up here and he says, I can't get enough. I don't understand. So if it was a Ponzi scheme and you need to keep it going with more and more influxions of capital, this is what I would expect to see. That's what I would expect to see. This is artificially allowing the price of Bitcoin to continue going up, and every other company that's doing this, yes, some say money laundering, it very well could be. It's a cheap way. I believe he gets a lot of tax and reimbursements and all this other, but anyhow, you know, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm going to leave it at that. I want to go deal with family stuff. Julie's mom's going to be leaving here in a minute, and I would hate to not be able to say goodbye to her. My son's sleeping right now. He was up from 2 a.m. went to school full day and fell asleep around like 4:45-ish, 5 o'clock. So he might be asleep until 2:30, but, you know. So yes, that's what I was saying. I mean, to sell out and buy back in, it's very speculative. But for XRP, you know, as I'm walking out, for XRP, it really does come down to the setup. Like, if you're trying to find a cheaper buyback, I mean, I'm not a fan that could burn you. But if we were to break down, let's just say it's at 278, we came through here, and now it's at about, in real time, down to about 267. So now it's 267, not 270. So if you lose 267, that's where you're like, uh-oh. And then you can open up the door and you start to look at, why could this happen? What is the reason it would come down there? What the hell would be the point of even losing this at this point, right? 266. It's because it could be the back test of the cup and handle still that we haven't had at the higher degree. So that's what I got. Hope this resonated with some of you. Be blessed. If you want more, make sure you join Tom's Army and get in the exclusive Telegram. If you want to copy trade with me any day now, I'm going to be buying IOTA depending on when I feel comfortable. You're in it or you're not. It's in the video description below, or very comments of this live, WEEX. I still encourage you, if you can join on BitUnix. It's just one day. Unfortunately, it's going to come the time when in the USA, it's just not going to be there. So we're trying to stay ahead to where, yes, you can use it, but as far as what we do as a group, you know, as far as for like the copy trading and stuff, I have to be on an exchange that actually allows the US and doesn't change their bylaws. So, and they allow me to buy IOTA in the copy trade. So if you want to be a part of that, you can be a part of that. Be blessed, everybody. And I'm very